All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about the most exciting subject in all of Primerica, policy deliveries. Okay, this is the most exciting one for sure. And I just got to find it here because I pulled up so many different things. There we go. There we go. All right. So this needs to be taught on because some of you are professionals at doing this wrong. Okay, so I'm like, well, I'm just going to take some time and teach on this and make sure that we do it right. Because a policy delivery is a good thing. A policy delivery is a good thing. A lot of you misunderstand how you get paid in Primerica. You think you get paid when you turn in an app, and they do pay you for that, but you really get paid when you deliver the policy and it goes into force and they start making payments. That's when your pay becomes real, okay? So, number one thing you need to write down, never e-deliver a policy. Never e-deliver policies. Why? Because you lose out on the ability to do everything I'm going to talk to you about tonight. Is it easier? Sure. You don't ever have to go back. You just sold it and you're done. The problem is the business doesn't have good persistency. You don't cross-sell. You don't get referrals. You can't recruit. You're out of there. Okay? So I always look at policy deliveries as an opportunity to make more money, service that client better than anybody else, make sure the business is going to stick, and do what? Recruit. I want to recruit that client. Okay? So that's my second look. If you try to do it all on the front, you're going to give them analysis paralysis. So you do it step by step, right? Okay? So let's go through here. What should be happening at the policy delivery? Number one, the policy should be delivered. Okay, so pretty basic. Number two is you need to sell a PLPP. What percentage of the time should you be selling PLPP? 100%. Nope. If they don't have a will, you should be selling it. If they already have a will, you could still sell it, okay, but you'd have to be better at explaining it, okay? So what percentage of the time when you're writing a policy do you ask who you want the beneficiary to be? Always. Okay, so let's step back to at the sale. So Dave, who do you want the beneficiary to be? They say, well, I'm going to leave it to my sister. Great. Dave, do you have a will? Right? Do you have a will? 5 words. It's going to make you $100 every policy delivery you go on. Do you have a will? Everybody say that together. Do you have a will? 5 words. Okay? So virtually everybody's going to tell you what? No. With this kind of look like I know I should, right? So here's what I say to them. At the policy, when I'm writing the policy, Matt, when I come back for $60, I'm going to help you set up a will, a living will, and power of attorney. So when we get back together, I'm going to help you do that. Remind me to talk to you about it. End of the story. So when I come back to deliver the policy, I'm going to deliver the policy, and now I'm going to say, Matt, remember the last time we talked about not having a will and how you needed to set up a will? For $60, I'm going to help you do that today. Okay, let me explain to you how it works. So this is exactly how you explain Primerica Legal Protection Program. Okay, Matt, it's $10 to join, it's $25 a month. Within 2 months, we're going to be able to have a will, a living will, and a power of attorney set up for you. This is extremely important because you have little kids, and in Michigan, little kids cannot inherit money. So without a will, what happens is your estate goes into probate. And then all sorts of family members, friends, relatives, people that don't even know you can challenge your estate and say, well, I think I should have the kids. I think I should have the money. I think I should be the manager. I think I should make the medical decisions because this person doesn't like vegan, and I think that's how the kids should eat, and this and that and the other thing. But if you have a will, it's still going to go to probate, but the court's got notarized documentation of exactly what you want, and they're going to execute it. Okay? So $10 to start, $25 a month for 2 months. Matt, we're going to get the will, the living will, the power of attorney done. Now, Matt, after 2 months, if you don't want to continue on with the service, you just write into the same place that did the will for you, let them know, charges stop, you got your will, your living will, power of attorney, okay? The other option is you can continue with the service at $25 a month. Matt, I really don't care what you do. About 50% of our clients keep it, 50% do not. Doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that you have the will done. Okay? Let me tell you what the service does, just so you know, okay? So if you chose to keep it, you basically have 24-hour access to attorneys for any reason. You got a question, you need them to write a letter, you need them to make a phone call for you, your neighbor did something crazy, Sprint ripped you off, you've got access to attorneys, okay? You get pulled over, you send in the ticket, they go to court, you don't even need to show up, okay? So you have 24-hour access to attorneys, all right? So Matt, have you ever had an issue maybe where like, you're like, dang, if I was a lawyer, or if I knew a lawyer, I'd go do something with this guy, right? Everybody has had that before in their life, right? But we don't act on it because it would cost us more to hire an attorney than the problem we're trying to solve, right? Okay, but now it's free. Somebody owes you 25 bucks, they looked at you the wrong way, you have the attorney send them a nasty letter, they'll look at you with a smile the next time, okay? So, I don't care if you keep it, but that's what you have when you keep it, all right? And so that's my little 2-minute spiel for PLPP.
What does that do to us as the agent if they cancel it after the
It charges you back a vast majority of your compensation, right? Okay, what percentage of people cancel it?
50.
No,
None of them.
virtually none. They forget, they have it, they like it, just rolls. I can't believe it. I mean, seriously, every Wednesday night, they pay me PLPP earns checks. I'm like, how do all these people still have it? I mean, you know, based on my experience with them keeping life insurance, you would think it would be like 50%. I just explained to them 50%, but I don't believe that I've ever received a PLPP chargeback. If I have, I don't know. Yeah. So they virtually all keep it, and it is a good service for them to have. Okay.
You stop right then and then take the app. Don't let them. Don't say
Yep.
everything in the end. You take the app.
Yep,
and then
take
go on
the
to
app,
next thing.
and then I'm going to go on to the next thing.
Okay.
So in this order, I'm going to deliver the policy, then I'm going to do the PLPP. Once I get the PLPP done, Matt, by the way, you have auto and homeowners insurance. In the policy, there's a piece of paper with the auto and home number, your agent information, and you show it to him. You say, hey, Matt, we have a concierge service. Listen to the language that I'm using here. We have a concierge service available to our clients that in 10 to 15 minutes, they're going to shop you out to many, many, many A-rated plus carriers in Michigan that'll shop you out. In 10 minutes, Matt, you're going to know one of two things. The number one thing you're going to know is I have the cheapest stuff in the state already. I'm good to go. The number two thing you're going to know is this company's cheaper, this company's cheaper, this company's cheaper. Take your pick. Okay? And it says right on the thing, the average client that switches saves about 466 bucks a year. So Matt, what I want to do is, before I leave tonight, I'm going to help you start the call. I just need you to text me later and let me know if you were able to save. Keep in mind, Matt, only about half the people do save. There's not really a rhyme or reason to why that is. We don't really know. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not. But it's worth looking at, right? If you save 40 bucks a month for 10 minutes, that's a good deal. Okay, so before we leave, I'm going to help you start that. Okay? Then I talk to them about securities. By the way, Matt, I know we didn't get into this a whole lot the last time, but what are you doing for your investment, your savings program right now? Do you have IRAs, 401ks, anything like that? And I'm going to dig those out, okay? Next is referrals. And here's what I'm saying, right? You should have Lisa's referral sheet, okay? You should have Lisa's referral sheet. Have a sheet. If you don't have a sheet, how many referrals are you going to get? Zero. Okay, have a sheet, fill the sheet out with the client. Here's what you ask them, Matt. Who do you love and care about a lot that it's important to you that their family would be taken care of if something happened to them? Okay, what are the names? Start writing. Okay, phrase it in that way. Who do you care about a lot that you would want to make sure that if something happened to them, their family was okay? And get some names, right? If they don't give you names, ask questions. You have brothers or sisters in the area? Great. What are their names? Great. What do they do? Great. What about friends? Do you have any friends? Right? Or you have parents? You have aunts and uncles? Ask questions and write names. And lastly is recruiting. Matt, on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Okay, we'll get to that. But this is what I'm doing on the policy delivery. This I'm going to make money on virtually always. This I'm going to make money on about 30% of the time. The auto and home. This I'm going to make money on if it exists. Okay, if it doesn't exist, Dave, what can you afford to start? Can you do $25 or $50 a month? And I'm going to try to take a pack with it. Okay, I'm going to get referrals. I'm going to try my best to recruit that person. Those are all wonderful things, right? If you e-deliver the policy, how many of those things happen? Zero. Why are you losing the opportunity to get in front of a client again and do all these things, and you're giving that opportunity away to save 20 minutes by e-delivering? Just craziness, right? Okay, so let's go in. So there are two sorts of deliveries we're going to do: issued and issued with requirements. So if it just issues, what does that mean? It's issued as requested. What you asked for, it came back with, and you just got to go deliver it, right? Issued with requirements means a couple of things, and we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so apparently we need delivery receipts. I'll have to spell check that. Okay, so to deliver a issued without requirements or issued as requested, what's the only thing you need? The delivery receipt. You need both of them, by the way. Okay, both delivery receipts. What happens to those delivery receipts, by the way? Some of you who like to mail them into the home office yourself.
One stays here, one gets sent to home office.
They both come in here, and you let the admins take it from there, right? Some of you send this crap on your own, and it doesn't get there, and we don't have a record of it. So then your client's policy goes not taken. So then you got to go back and deliver it again, right? So listen, paper trails are good in the financial services business, yes or yes? Yes. So bring the thing in here and put it in your admin's inbox. It will get done, I promise you. If it doesn't get done, it was scanned and we have a copy of it. And we can just send that. Okay, everybody understand that? So you need both copies, and they need to come in where? Here. How long do you have to deliver a policy?
20 days.
10 days.
It'll vary sometimes.
Okay, so there's a lot of right answers here. If it's issued as requested, 20 days after the policy date, what automatically happens? The policy goes into force. If issued as requested, even if you don't deliver it, the policy will go into force. Why? Because they gave them exactly what they wanted. They haven't told them no, so they're going to assume they want to move forward with this coverage. Okay, so if you're taking your sweet old time to deliver it, what's going to happen 25 days out?
They're going to get charged.
They're going to get charged. Say, what's happening? There's money coming out of my account. I haven't even accepted anything. And you're sitting there looking at the castle of policies you got built at your home. It's growing by the day, and you're like, right, okay. So get it delivered fast. By the way, if the policy goes into effect prior to you delivering it, what happens? The company charges you what? $25. How do they charge it to you? Out of your earns account. So you don't see it, you're just missing $25 a year from now. Right? Why do they charge you?
Make you do it.
No, because the company's covering them, and they still haven't taken more money. The company is at risk without any future premium during that time. You all understand that? Okay? So, deliver it. How quickly? ASAP. As soon as you get that thing, man, you should run and deliver it. Why? Not only because of that, but what's sitting out there? Referrals, recruits, PLBP, there's all sorts of that. I don't got anybody to see. Go see the person you sold to and deliver the policy and get referrals and recruit them. And they will take you to more people to see, right? Does everybody follow that? Okay, so again, I once had a policy castle. Okay, go in the agent mailbox just for fun and look at the policy castles. Okay, and go look at whose name is on the policy castle in the agent mailbox, right? Okay, those are people who don't understand how they get paid yet. Most of you will have a policy castle one time in your career, and then you won't deliver a bunch, and they'll charge you back, and then you'll say, dang, I guess I should be delivering my policies. Okay, so that's all you need to do. Must be delivered within 21 days. Okay, on the 21st day, they're going to charge you to your earns, and the policy is going to go into effect. Okay? So here's some best practices when you're delivering the policy. Okay? This is the policy fact sheet. It is sometimes the front page when you open it on the left. More times than not, it is behind the PLPP and the auto and home. It's big red letters on the top. It says policy fact sheet. What should you do with that? Put it on the front, and you should highlight. What's the policy date? What are the coverage amounts? What is the premium amount? What is the draft date?
We can highlight on it?
Sure, it's not part of the policy. Okay. So you can't write in the policy.
You can highlight.
You can highlight a policy, you can't write in the policy.
Really?
Okay, so here's,
Not altering
Do it
the
in
document.
pencil next time.
huh?
Not
Yeah, you
can
alter-
erase it.
Can't alter.
It's not altering it, yeah. Technically, you shouldn't be writing the policy, okay? So,
Contract.
yeah, so anyways, here's what you're doing. So you go to deliver the policy, you say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, let me just give you a quick overview how your policy works. This is your coverage amount, this is your premium amount, that's the draft date, the 24th, okay? Do you have any questions? Great, no. So then you go into the policy. You open it up to the front page. Mr. and Mrs. Client, you are rated standard tobacco, okay? You have a 10-year level term. So I'm going to show them their health rating and how long the term is for. They already know the price. I'm not going to go back through it again with them, okay? So you should sticky note these, okay? Put a sticky note here. And what I always do is I show them the premium, okay, for 10 years. I tell them, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you're going to have 3 options at the end of your term. Option 1 is in 10 years, you can pay more for the same thing. Don't do this, and on the sticky note, right, don't do this, call Ian, see page 7. You should stick that there. Because when some guy comes in a year from now to try to replace this policy, he's going to go here and that's how he's going to kill it. He's going to kill this policy just like you and I would kill a term policy. The problem is, he don't understand how our conversion works, and if he does, he ain't going to tell the client about it. Okay? So this is called lapse protection. Okay? This is how you get your clients to keep it. By the way, my personal persistency rate is over 94%. It means out of 100 policies I write that get issued, in a year, only 6 of those 100 are not still in force. That's good. Why? Because I do what I'm teaching you to do here. Okay? So, this is an option. Don't do this. See page what? 7, call who? Me, right? Well, don't call Ian if it's your policy, Josh, okay? But call. And then I take them to exchange part 5 on page 7. Say, Josh, so your option that I just showed you, which is not good, okay, is that. Here's your other 2 options. And I highlight it, right? Okay? So look, so this policy provides coverage until the expiry date, or you may exchange this policy anytime after it's been in force for 5 years. Now, Josh, we would never exchange it till the end of the term. But we could if we wanted to. We're not going to, right? To what? To annual increasing premium term insurance, to age 100, or to decreasing term insurance, plan described below. If the exchange is for the same class of insurance, we will not require evidence of insurability. I say, Josh, listen to me very carefully. If anybody ever comes here and tries to get you to switch this policy, you need to roll this up and you need to start beating them with it immediately, okay? Because what they're getting you to do is give up a grandfathered health clause till you're 100 years old. Josh, I don't care if somebody comes here and tries to sell you something $50 a month less expensive. In order to get that savings, you must give up what? A guarantee for the rest of your life. Okay? Josh, you are guaranteed for the rest of your life to always have term insurance with Primerica and never have to pay more, never have to do another health test. Nobody will make you that guarantee. If they say they will, you don't do it, you call me, but the other thing you do is you show them this. You say, show me in your policy where it says I can have term insurance with no health check. Okay? So Josh, never, ever, ever switch this. Even if it looks like a great deal, you might save some money now, but you're going to pay for it big time later. Josh, do you understand? And I just take 2 minutes and I explain to them the value and benefit of this policy and why they shouldn't be canceling it. Okay, how many of you do that? Handful. Okay, everybody needs to do that, right? And you need to tell them exactly. If anybody comes here and tries to get you to replace it, roll it up, start hitting them with it. They always laugh, but I tell them, start wailing on them, right? No, I'm never giving this up. Okay?
Ian,
Yeah.
can they keep the same death benefit even if after the conversion?
They can. They just pay more. They pay attained age, but same health on an annual basis.
And does it stay the same or does it go jump?
Every 5 years.
Nope, so that was option one, was the renewal. The conversion will allow you to do one of two things. You keep the same face amount, pay more every year, based only on your age, not on your health. Okay, so you have in this case, they have a tobacco rating. They're gonna have a tobacco rating again on an ART. It'd be no different, Luann, than walking in 10 years later and qualifying again at that rate for an ART.
But it's going to still be cheaper than
It's gonna be way
the
cheaper.
annual increasing term part of it?
It's gonna be way cheaper than
You have no health rating, guys.
the renewal rate. It's gonna be way cheaper than anything else they could buy.
Oh, yeah, that one.
But nobody does it because 10 years from now, you shouldn't need as much coverage as you need now. That's how life works.
Yeah.
Over time, your need for insurance does go down. That's just life, right? So virtually nobody, Luann, picks that option, but it is an option. Virtually all of them pick the decreasing option, which is I don't have to pay anymore. I'm older, I have less coverage, but I still have a good amount of coverage. I don't have to take a health test, and my premium doesn't go up. Does that make sense to you?
As far as like looking at the illustration for the BT 100,
Yep.
so is it the same for everyone? So say they use the increasing benefit rider for the full 10 years, and the decreasing term, is it start at the original issued amount or the amount after the 10 years?
Okay, so what does it say?
Well, I'm confused with it, because I mean, so it's saying it's a certain age, I mean, they're all the same as far as,
Yep.
I'm just saying, I think I just need help reading it though. 'Cause
Okay,
at
so
least-
we went through this in a 301 class, but we'll do it now just for fun. Okay, so the decreasing term, it says read it under decreasing term 100. What's the next line before you get to the table?
The face amount decreases while premiums remain level. The face amount decreases each year with retained age as shown in table C. We reserve the right to change the scheduled face amount, but not lower than the minimum face amount is determined in table C.
And what does it say in addition to that? The face amount is per what? $100 of
Basic annual premium.
so basic annual premium is what? Including IBR or no? No. But it's irrelevant because they're already paying for IBR. So they want to keep paying for it, they can. It's a technicality, yeah, to answer your question there. So what do? Find their age, find their health status, and that's how much coverage that year $100 buys them. So if you figure out how much they're paying, right, like here, do this, right? This guy was paying $169 a month, right? How old was he?
54.
He's 54. So at 64, tobacco on 300,000. So between 250 and 500, what is that amount? $7,007. Times what? 169 a month times 12 is how much? A little over $2,000. So times that number by 20 is how much? 140. So if he wants to use it all on him, he could have 140 grand of coverage. So his 200 grand would go down to what? 140. But wife has nothing. Or it could go the other way. You could get rid of him and put it all on her, or you could split it on either, or do whatever you want. But that's how you calculate that. That makes sense? Okay, very good. Let's keep moving on. So tell a client to never cancel this policy. Like I said, what do you have them do? Tell them to roll it up and do what? Beat the competing agent with it. Okay, so PLPP, do you have a will? How many words? Do you have a will? If no, take a PLPP out. Okay? So here's how you get paid on PLPP, by the way. Okay, so how many district leaders in here? How much you get? $80. You get $80 to deliver that policy. Why are you not asking them? We do 400 policies a month and 20 PLPPs. There's a disconnect here, folks. It's crazy. It's like 5% of you are asking about PLPP. You should ask how much of the time? All of the time. What percentage of the time should you walk out of a policy delivery without a PLPP if there's no will? 0% of the time. Okay, why wouldn't they set it up for $60? Right? Well, you need to think about it. No, you need a will. Right? Let's get this done. Go ahead.
Why is it $60? I thought
Too
it was
much.
25.
It's
But I don't know why.
That's if they get Legal Shield.
You can't do it without Legal Shield. No.
Sure you can.
How do you do that?
You have a choice. You could pay $25 or you could pay an extra $1 for Legal Shield.
They took that out.
Say what?
I just did it last night and I couldn't.
On what?
I combined the two.
Online?
Yeah.
Okay, I do them on paper. You could still do them on paper, but they may not let it. Sorry, so you could say $62.
Right.
Big deal, right?
I guess I'm behind with this, but they charge you for
$10 to join.
No,
The
no,
first
they
month
don't
up front.
They don't do anymore for husband and wife. They don't offer that anymore.
Don't offer what?
The will set up for husband and wife when you set it up
Oh, the family.
originally for the.
Oh, they're good.
They get two
You get
wills.
two wills.
2 powers of attorney, or 4 yeah.
Yeah, whoever's named on the PLPP application is an immediate family member they deal with. Husband, wife, any children.
I think I know for the will, it covers whoever signs up, but if you do it within the first 2 months,
Yeah.
they'll do
A
the
second
Spouse too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
not a class on PLPP, we will get there. Okay, they need to have a will. That is better than no will. It may cost $62. It may cost $60. That's largely irrelevant in the outcome of them getting the will. Okay, so again, you need to do this all the time. Okay, all the time. You're doing your client a huge disservice to let them be walking around with massive amounts of life insurance coverage and no will. Okay? Good, I'm glad we got that settled. Auto and home. Okay? Call 877-855-8111 and tell me if you save. Okay, and you just give them that little spiel. Listen, Leonard, before I leave today, we're gonna make this call. We're gonna shop you to 7, 8, 9, 10 A-rated carriers, okay, that accept brokered business. In 10 minutes, Leonard, you're gonna know one of 2 things. You have the cheapest thing in the state, sleep easy at night, or 2, this company's cheaper, this company's cheaper, this company's cheaper, take your pick. Okay, so before I leave tonight, we're gonna start that call. I just need you to call me or text me and let me know if you save. Leonard, about half the people save, half don't. We really don't have a rhyme or reason, but it's 10 minutes. Average client saves like $400 a year. So if you save 30, 40 bucks a month in 10 minutes, that's a good 10 minutes, right? Right, okay.
What do you mean when you say you'll start the process and then have them
I'm
call
gonna get that call started.
and then walk out?
Yeah, I'm not sitting there for it.
Alright, so that's like the last thing you do?
Yeah, right. I can't do anything about it. The numbers are the numbers. If it's better, the person on the other end will close
Right,
the
I'm
deal
just
for you.
thinking like, you said to do this and then recruit.
Yeah, so I said, before I leave, I'm gonna do this.
Okay.
So I'm going through all of it before I'm walking out the door. Hey, let's make that call to the auto and home real quick.
Okay.
So I'm talking to him about it, and then I'm gonna get him on the back, right? Okay.
How many companies?
It's different all the time. They're literally adding companies, taking companies off. Some states it's really good in, some states it's not so good in, like Michigan is one of the tougher ones.
It's like Priceline.
Yeah.
He comes up with 3 or 4.
Yeah, Michigan's one of the tougher ones, but like in Oklahoma, like 95% of our auto and home sales come out of Oklahoma. They just, in California, that's how they get in the door out there. In California, these guys do hundreds of these a month. It's like a different company in California. Hey, you wanna save money on your auto insurance? Yeah, come on by. That's how they set appointments. You couldn't do that here because you can't always save them money. So if you lead with auto and home and it doesn't work, they assume everything else you do doesn't work either. So you can't go into Michigan like that. Those suckers in California, man.
Car insurance is expensive in California.
Okay, so watch this. District leader on an auto gets how much? 55 bucks. On a home gets 29 bucks. Virtually always the same. So that's like 84 bucks. To do what? Let's make a 10-minute call and dial some numbers. How many claims do you have to deal with?
Zero.
None. How many questions do you have to answer? None. How many pieces of paperwork do you have to fill out? Folks, this is $84 as a district leader for opening your mouth for 30 seconds and punching some numbers before you walk out the door. Why are you not doing this 100% of the time on the policy delivery?
Do you have to be licensed?
No, you don't have to have a license. Now in Michigan, and listen, in Michigan it's a little weird. You got to give them a downline code. In Michigan is what's called a hot state. So if you're not licensed and you give them your code, Matt, you don't get paid. Who gets paid? Me. Now if Booby Miles is your downline, you give Booby's code. Booby don't get paid. You get paid, right? So you got to have a downline in Michigan. It's a little weird. Most other states you could just write it yourself.
So do you get paid on your downline?
Yes.
No, you can.
No, you can pay it on your level.
You override it.
The way that they worked it is they said,
like
all right,
referral.
if you're the managing upline and you had nothing to do with the sale, we gotta pay the money to somebody. We'll just pay it to this guy.
The first time we did that with one of my clients, it was kind of awkward to describe that, and I asked Lisa how she does that, and she said she tells her client like, "Oh, I have a downline that really
No.
wants some incentives."
No.
No.
So here's it, so
How
here's
do you
it,
do that?
yeah, here, we're gonna call this, here's the code you need to get in, here's the
Right.
name that you're gonna say referred you.
Even though you're crossing it out on their
Who
paper.
cares?
If your spouse is,
Or recruit your spouse.
Yeah.
that's what I get, is Carly's.
It's still previous, just a different number, but they don't know your number and her number. Right? So that's the better way to do it if you're married, is recruit your spouse and use the downline.
Do you only give a downline if you're not licensed or always?
If you, well, if you have a P&C license, you
You
could
have
do
to have
that.
property casualty.
Yeah, but there's no point in having, it's not enough money, you're not gonna do it often enough to warrant studying for however many hours to get that exam, right?
15, that's what you can pass us,
15 hours?
15
That's
hours.
15 hours too much. Right? I just recruit somebody and you solve the problem for the rest of your life,
Yes.
right? Okay, it only took 30 minutes, and you gotta recruit, so that's good, okay? So, again, you're a regional leader, you're making 93 bucks. To do what? Call this number. Just call, all you gotta do is call. If it works, it works, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, how much money did you lose? How much time did you lose?
30 seconds.
30 seconds, right?
Hold on, so did you get paid even if they don't say one?
No. If they switch, you get paid.
You have to make the first one premium.
This isn't a timeshare sales company. This is a gift for going to the presentation.
I'd set up this
And
whole
you
room
always
to just
give
make
down
calls.
line unless you have.
If you have a P&C license, it's gotta be a downline naming solution. Direct downline, by the way. If you give it to somebody downline of the downline, then that person gets paid. So it better be direct, okay? So this is how you get the referrals. Who do you care about that you would want to make sure their family is protected in case of a premature death? Everybody has somebody they care about like that. Ask them the question. Well, probably my sister. Great. What's her name? Does she live in the area? Great. What's her husband's name? Does she have kids? How old are they? Awesome. What's their phone number? Can you send him this text, Josh? Josh is going to call you. He helped us with our insurance. I think you need to talk to him. Please make 20 minutes to sit with him. Boom. Send the text. That way when you call, it's not a cold call. You doing all right there, Gassy? You need some like,
Assistant call.
it sounded like a cough. It sounded like a mass. Better get some gas X up in here. Get 5 to 10 referrals with what?
Numbers.
I don't like giving referrals. No problem. But you still have people you care about, right? You want to make sure this is done, right? Okay, great. Who are those people? Write their name. What is their phone number? Well, I don't like giving referrals. Listen, I understand you don't like giving referrals, right? But you'd agree I've helped you. I wasn't pushy with you. I filled a need. You told me you care about them. I would be the exact same way with them. If I treated them with the respect I treated you, I'm sure they'd be happy about that, right? It's exactly what I'm going to do. Sometimes you just got to sell yourself a little bit. But get the names and numbers. I want to call them first. Allison, listen, that's great. I really do want you to call them first and let them know. In fact, I'll give you a text you can send to them. Okay, but let me get their number anyways, and I will call them for a couple of days. 2-3 days enough time to give them a heads up?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, great. Let me get the number. You got to close. All right, everything is a sale. Getting referrals is a sale. You got to close the sale. Okay.
Ian, what'd you say when you said, what are the numbers? I don't like giving numbers.
I don't like giving referrals. That's no problem, but you still have people that you really do care that this helps, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like who?
And then if they say, but I don't want to give you their number, you said.
So I say, listen, I definitely appreciate that. Normally when people tell me that, you know, it's totally common. They don't want somebody over there pushing, give them a hard sale. But let me ask you a question, Jordan. You would agree that I've helped you guys tonight, right? And it's pretty pleasant. I haven't been pushy with you. I fixed a problem for you. And you want that to happen for them. If I treated them the same way that I treated you, I'm sure they'd be very happy with the experience, right? It's exactly how I'm going to treat them. Okay? Ask the recruiting question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I would hate helping people, I also hate making money. 10 being if I can earn an extra $1,000 or $2,000 a month spare time, I'd be interested in learning more. What is your initial interest level based on what you've seen so far? That question is going to make you millions, you all. But most of you don't ask. You're just delivering a policy and leaving. Ask the question. You will be surprised at the people who tell you 8, 9, 10. Okay? But you got to word it like that. Josh, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I would hate helping people. I would also hate making any extra money. 10 being if I could make $1,000 or $2,000 a month on the side, doing this spare time, I'd be interested in learning more. Based on what you've seen so far, Josh, what would you say your initial interest level is? If he's an 8, 9, or 10, I say, what interests you the most? And I start them on the process of them selling themselves. Tell me what interests you the most, Josh, about what you've seen. Well, man, I really need to make some extra money and blah, blah, blah. Great, well, what other questions do you have? Well, answer the questions. What other questions do you have? Well, I guess none really. Well, Josh, I'd like to start the process of helping you do this. It takes 10 minutes. We'll go through the steps that I told you about. Let me get your driver's license. You sit and recruit them right there. If you can't recruit them right there, set another appointment to come back if they're 7, 8, 9. Josh, listen, what I'd like you to do between now and our time we get back together is I want you to write down your questions. Great minds think on paper. Nothing's off limits. I'll show you absolutely anything you want to see. So let's set that time for next Tuesday. Great. I'm going to carry back and I'm going to recruit those people. Okay? You got to master this, you all. Master it. Not like I do it sometimes. Ask every time. Every time. Nobody's going to fault you for asking it. There's an easy way out, right? If they're not interested, what are they going to say? 1, 2, 3. Oh, no problem, Harold. That's okay. It's not for everybody. Who do you know that you feel like would be really interested in something like this? If they're not interested, always ask. Who do you know? You never know who they know, right? So so that's delivering an issued policy that's normal. What about issued with requirements? Okay. First, you need to figure out why it's issued with requirements. Why is it different? Because sometimes it's not different. Sometimes it's part of the process. So the number one reason why you'll see things issued with requirements is because you wrote the policy for a face value of more than what? $500K. Why is that important? If you wrote $1 million policy, they only took money in-house for how much? So there's automatically a what? Money requirement. Is that bad? No, not necessarily. It's just the additional premium due for the extra $500,000. Well, if there's money due, it's going to be issued with requirements. So sometimes it's not bad. Sometimes it's just, it was a big policy. We need to deliver it. Number 2, change of rating. So you asked for preferred, they gave standard. You asked for standard, they gave table 2, whatever it is. If they change the rating, it will come issued with requirements, which means without it being signed off on, unlike issued without requirements going into force automatically, what happens to these? They die out in limbo, right? They go not taken. 3 are miscellaneous amendments. Sometimes you've been working on one for a really long time, you've been back and forth with underwriters a few times, and they issue it with a statement of good health. How many of you have ever seen that? Okay, statement of good health, where they just got a sign saying nothing's changed since I applied. Because it's taken so long, the medicals are so old now that I did, that I gotta just make a statement that nothing's changed. Right? Those are what I would consider to be miscellaneous amendments. So to deliver, same process as before, you gotta get the signature card signed, but in addition to that, you must do what? You've gotta get all amendments and money requirements turned in. My favorite is like, did you deliver the policy? Yeah, but I'm still waiting on the money. Well, is that policy delivered?
No.
No, it is not. It's got to be all of it, okay? So it's issued with requirements. If all you need is money, get the money, right? If there's an amendment, generally it will be an amendment and money. You need to get both. Now, generally, in the policy, there's a bank draft form for the additional premium, so they don't need a check. Okay, when you go to deliver that policy, before you drive out there, you should make sure that form is in there. If it's not in there, what should you get? You could get a check. Easier than that would be you should have saved to your device our generic one-time bank draft form. And print that off and fill it out, because a lot of people don't have checks. So what happens when you get there and they don't have a check and there's a money requirement?
You can't do it.
You sit there and stare at them, and they sit there and stare at you, right? And you can't get it delivered. So before you leave, if there's a money requirement, make sure there's a bank draft form in there for the money requirement. If there's not, print one off and put it in there. Okay? Everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So, what if the client wants to change their coverage? What is the order in which this needs to be done?
Sign it into force.
Put it into effect and do a policy change form to sign the policy to a different face value, different term length, right? Why not just do the policy change form?
Because it won't be enforced.
Because the policy is not enforced, it will issue the change, and then you're going to have to go back and do what? Deliver the policy again. Why not deliver it and change it at the same time, so now when they get the changed policy, you can just mail it to them. You already did the delivery, you already got everything you needed, you made the change, we know they're going to accept the change, so now you don't have to go back again. But if you sometimes you're like, well, I'm going to do the change form and then I'm going to deliver. And then you go back and you do it, right? Because people are like, what happens if it goes into effect? If it goes into effect for 1 day at the different price, it's largely inconsequential, right? Do you understand that? Okay.
Brooke, can you e-deliver that one?
Nope. Okay, so always put the policy in effect. What does that mean? Signed delivery receipt, amendments, and what? Money requirement. But what if it comes back at $200 a month and we're changing it to $100 a month? Do they still need the money requirement? Yes. What happens when you put it to $100 a month? They take the extra and they pay it forward. You understand that? It doesn't get gobbled up. It doesn't get disappeared. They use it to pay the future premiums until they use up all the money. They're gonna have to pay that $100 one way or the other, right? You might as well just get it done now instead of having to come back and do it again. Everybody get that? Okay, so how do you explain that to the client? Joe, what we're gonna do is, your policy right now came back at $200 a month. I know we wanna have it at $100 a month. We're gonna fill out a form to do that tonight. The other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna sign off on this. We're gonna take that money that's extra and we're gonna send it in, okay? And so what's gonna happen is the policy will be in effect, okay? But instead of having to pay a $100 premium next month, you're not gonna have any premium next month because the $100 we're doing today is gonna cover that. You understand that? Great. You just explain to them what's gonna happen, right? So you can not have to come back again and do that. Simultaneously, you do the change form.
So I did one a month and a half ago, and I had them sign it, and then they were increasing coverage from 10 years to 15, because initially they just wanted to make sure their kids were through college, and then they just got transferred to New Jersey, and they had to get a 15-year mortgage, so we wanted to make sure that the mortgage would be covered.
Okay.
So I did the acceptance, we did the change form, and then I got it all back with a money requirement and a...
Why did you get a money requirement? Because you increased it. That's really rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
So only if you're decreasing, you don't have to do a, because I had to do a second delivery receipt then.
Yeah.
So,
but that's, most of the time, you're not gonna get a change of coverage and then increase that on top of it. Normally, it's 99.9% of the time it's going the other direction. Yeah.
So on those ones, you would just get that money requirement when you know you're doing the change form as well, just figure out the additional cost, or always wait until it comes back and then go with it.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
If you are going from 10 years to 15 years, and you get an increase in the premium.
So if the policy's in effect, here's where you've got a problem. You sent in the change form before they had put the policy into force. So then they changed the policy. Because if the policy was in force already, there's never gonna be a money requirement to add coverage or extend it. They're just gonna draft them for it.
so should our admins send in the delivery receipt first and wait a couple of days, then send the change?
They should, but you would be responsible for telling them that, because they're not thinking 7 steps ahead. I have one right now, needed to be on a monthly bank draft. The guy added 750 grand to him, put his wife on for 750 grand, big policy, right? But he's paying quarterly. Well, they won't allow you to do an increase on a quarterly quarterly bill pay. It's gotta be on a monthly bank draft. So I brought in the bank draft and the increase, and I sat there, I said, this has got to go in first. When this is good, then you send this in. So you just gotta tell them what to do on it, because they don't necessarily know. They don't know this form is increasing or decreasing, they're just getting a change form, okay?
For the one that has the amendment in it, there's usually a policy change on the back.
There's a one-page change form.
Yeah. So
If you get
decrease
it back all
without money.
bojangled, there's a one-page simplified change form that you can write in a decrease in coverage, a decrease in term length, anything you want. Reconsideration. Sometimes it comes back different and you want to reconsider it. So what do? Deliver the policy and send in the reconsideration. Okay? So put the policy into effect, and this is big. Number 2 is what? Agree on a worst case scenario. Josh, if we can't get this reconsidered and the price stays as is, are you okay to keep this, or what are you okay to keep? And I take a change form to put that scenario in effect, because some of you get the policy back, it's all bojangle, and instead of delivering it, you go and get a reconsideration. Well, what happens to the time clock ticking down on delivering the policy when a reconsideration goes in? Nothing. It just keeps ticking down. So you're waiting for this reconsideration and you're timing out of being able to deliver the policy. So I say, Matt, listen, if we can't get this reconsidered, will you take this as is? If yes, put the policy in force and let's try to get you reconsidered. If no, what do we need to be at to get it done? And I take a change form for that, right? So that I sign it into effect. I take the change form for what they're agreeing to, worst case, if it won't reconsider. You understand? And then I throw in the reconsideration. So if my time clock starts ticking down, what do? I send in the change form to at least get it in force at worst case. Right? Do you understand that? Yeah. So you can't just, well, what's happening? Did you deliver that policy? I got a reconsideration. That means nothing, right? The policy's gonna go not taken, and then they're gonna refund the money, and then you're gonna have to do a change form and get the money again, and get the amendment, and right? So you always put the policy into effect, and in this case, where you're trying to do a recon, you come to an agreement with the client. If it doesn't recon, what are we doing? And you get a change form for that. By the way, you should virtually always be able to deliver issue with requirements, especially rating class changes. Some of you look at that as bad. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish they would have gotten what we try to get them. But if they're getting downgraded, especially the table ratings, these people have problems. We're guaranteeing them insurance for life. These people really need this product more than healthy people. I never have issues delivering issue with requirements, but sometimes I need to adjust them so they'll keep them. Okay, so that's the end of our policy delivery talk. Jordan, go ahead. Any questions on this?
When do we ever put in anything other than standard, non-tobacco? You'd mentioned that if it's a change of rating, right? Do we ever put in preferred or preferred plus or anything of that sort?
What do you mean?
When you're getting the quote.
Yeah, when you're getting a quote, because you said issued with requirements, right? If face value over 500, or if there's a change of rating. When you're getting a quote or you're submitting a life app, do you ever put in anything other than standard or tobacco? You do.
Sure.
What do you put?
Whatever I think they're going to qualify for.
Oh.
Did all of you know that? You all learned. Amy's gonna learn today.
Okay.
I was told
Yeah, I was too.
I was told never put in anything other than standard.
Guys, help you look good.
Okay, so time out. Okay. I don't know how you compete. How do you compete against people who have preferred rates?
Right. How do I compete? I got to tell them I got to wait for the application to come back to get.
You understand if you don't ask for preferred, it will never come back preferred.
No.
Never.
Wait a minute. I've had it happen come back preferred and preferred plus. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty abnormal. If you apply preferred, they'll give you preferred plus. But I've never seen you apply it standard and then upgrade you from standard to preferred.
I did.
Get a letter also in the mail.
Yeah, mine came back with a letter and a check.
Okay, maybe that's the case now.
Maybe
It
it's
didn't
new,
used to be
yeah.
the case.
But
Either
they could
way.
go from preferred back to standard.
Oh,
right?
sure, I see that all the time, right? And not the other way. Okay, so,
Because I had to go through a thing where my buddy was like, "There's no way I'm standard. I got to be preferred," and then we had to go get it all fought back.
So you need to field underwrite as best you can. If they're in the height and weight tables and they're answering no to the questions, the chances are pretty good they're going to get preferred or preferred plus. Well, the only thing I would tell you to do is, so the reason you're being told to do that is because your uplines are afraid of you getting chargebacks because you quote out preferred, comes back standard, they don't take. Right? That's what they're afraid of. That's why they're telling you to do that. But instead of being afraid of it and just missing out on goo gobs of business, you just need to set the client expectations.
Yeah.
Jordan, I think you're going to get this rate, but if it comes back different, I want to get a commitment from you that will work around what it comes back as. Can I get a commitment from you that if it's a little different, that you'll work with me to either try to get it here, or if we can't get it here, that we work around what we do get? Can I get a commitment from you on that? I don't see any problem with taking preferred or preferred plus applications as long as you set the client expectation up front.
And Pruk, is there an opportunity, let's say I applied for preferred, it comes back standard, and then how long do I have to potentially do a reconsideration? Like, put the
6
policy in
months.
force, 6 months. So
So
if
if it comes back standard, they're gonna tell you on the amendment why.
Yeah.
Cholesterol. Okay, great. So now that client has 6 months to go to his physician and get a new cholesterol read and send it in, and we'll automatically lower it to preferred. They're gonna tell you it was because of this, this, and this. They have to tell you on the amendment, and the client has to sign the amendment. So they're telling them, this and this and this are problems. If you fix the problems and you're willing to get this back to us, and then 6 months we'll change it. Yep.
Is that this? If you have someone that goes from like preferred plus to preferred, because that's what happened to me, do you get like additional?
Generally, there's no additional money and there's no amendment.
Okay.
Preferred plus is technically an upgraded status. Okay? So it may cost a little more, which is why when you quote preferred plus, what do you need to do? Set the client expectations that we're going to try to get this. Yeah, we're going to try to get this, but it may come back differently.
No, but do you get, as a representative, do you get additional? Like,
Do they pay you?
Yes.
Okay,
Or
so
the
you don't
actual-
get any more production credit, but they do pay you
Okay.
on the additional amount.
That's what I mean.
What happens if the policy? She's asking, what happens if you quoted a policy at $80, you did the app at 80, it comes back at 100? Do you get paid on the difference? Yes, you do.
Just wanna make sure.
Do you get production credit on the difference? No, but you get paid on it.
I had one for an older gentleman, and he only wanted 150,000. It was cheaper to go with Custom Advantage, and after I went through the health questions, it shows you the final total again, and it was cheaper.
No such thing. You quoted something wrong. A birthday was wrong. Yeah, it doesn't. There's no such thing as it real-time reacting to medical questions on the app.
Yeah, but I've seen that happen before where there's a difference between the quote and when you actually do the policy.
Yeah, sometimes
There's
there's like a
bug
little.
once-
Yeah,
once
sometimes
in a
there's
half.
like a little bug or something where it's like $1 different or $2 different, and I don't know why it is. Yeah.
I just celebrated. I was like, "Whoa, you're cheaper!"
Yeah.
I actually got a guy rated because he had a bad driving record.
Yeah.
That shocked Lisa and
No, if you have more than 2 moving violations the last 3 years, you're gonna start getting dinged.
like double,
Yeah, I just had a guy die for it.
Yeah.
double the price.
Yep.
But or maybe that made a mistake
Yep.
because he doesn't drive.
If you get pulled over, if you get tickets 3 times in 2 years,
You're a danger.
how many times are you doing whacked out crap that you ain't getting tickets? That's what the company's thinking, right? Because you got caught 3 times in 2 years. Something else is going on here that you're not average Joe when it comes to risk.
Then you sell PLP.
Then you sell PLP. Next time you get a ticket, they'll go for you. All right, guys, valuable?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you later.
Yeah.